I'm Trevor. Nice to see you. Hopefully all the sound is working. If the sound is working, let me know in the comments. I do this all by myself, so hopefully this goes all right. Thanks for tuning in. This is Canada's countdown to Artemis II, and I have confirmation that the sound is good. So perfect, beautiful. All right. Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about what this is. My name is Trevor. Hello. Some of you might know me, some of you might not, but I'll talk a bit about myself in just a moment, but I don't want to waste much of your time. We're going to get right into this. And so I just want to explain quickly before we go further what this series is going to all be about. So you might have heard recently that we're going to the moon. Humans are going back to the moon for the first time in over 50 years. And the mission is called Artemis II. Artemis II. And so what I wanted to do is to sort of get you pumped up, get you ready for this historic mission. You might have also heard that there's going to be a Canadian involved in the mission. His name is Jeremy. I'll talk a little bit about that in just a second. So what I'm going to be doing here, it's Monday night. It's 8 p.m. Eastern time. And so I'm going to do this every single week. I'm going to do a weekly live stream every Monday, same time. I'm going to do it every week until the mission launches, which is coming up quick. But we'll talk about that in a second here. So every week, each show, I'm going to do two topics, and they're each going to be about 15 minutes long. And then I'm going to do 15 minutes of Q&A. So if you have questions, I'm going to ask you to sort of save them until the Q&A time. I'll let you know. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat as I can. But in total, this will just be 45 minutes. We're in and we're out. That's it. I'm not going to waste too much of your time. So hopefully that'll be good for you. All right. The other thing for this is there's going to be lots of, press coverage and streams like this, I'm sure, in the United States, but I didn't really see much happening in Canada. There is, some stuff about it, but I wanted to really focus this live stream with a focus on Canadian stuff. Okay. This is a historic mission for Canada, so we should kind of focus on that. So historic mission, and I want you to really appreciate it in real time. That's one of my goals, is to appreciate it while it is happening. I think you just live in the moment a lot better when that is happening. All right, so we're going to go to the moon together. Who am I? Who are you? Is what you might be asking out over there. I don't know. Maybe you're talking to yourself. Maybe you're not. All right, who am I? My name's Trevor, as I said, and I run a little one-man band, one-person company here in Montreal called Plateau Astro. I've been doing this for almost 8 years now, and I do workshops teaching people about space and astronomy, how to use telescopes, how to use different astronomy apps and everything. I do videos like this, live streams, and I also make videos on my YouTube channel and stuff. I also sometimes do work with CBC, making some videos and stuff. I also do school presentations. So I go into schools and I teach kids about moon phases, scale model of the Earth and Moon, why do we have seasons, all that sort of wonderful stuff. And I also have, I swear this promo, if it is a promo, it's gonna be real quick. I also have a mobile planetarium, an inflatable mobile planetarium. So I bring this into schools. In fact, I'm doing one tomorrow in Ottawa, and kids go inside and we can see the night sky and stars and constellations, and then we can tour the solar system and the Milky Way and the universe. Really, really cool. Love doing it. It's one of the coolest parts of my job. So doing that tomorrow. I got to get up real early. So after this, I'm heading to bed. The last thing, and then we'll get right into the topics, is I used to work at the Canadian Space Agency for about a year. 2022 to 2023, I worked at the Canadian Space Agency. Disclosure, this is not endorsed by the CSA. This is not involved with the CSA or anything. This is just one guy who doesn't know when to stop talking. So they're not involved with this. Just want to put this out there that I used to work there, and really lucky. I worked in comms, so got to meet and make videos and work with the astronauts sometimes. This is David St. Jacques, who went into space back in 2018, 2019. This is Joshua Kutrick, who is from Alberta. So I see there's some Albertans in the audience there. This guy, Joshua Kutrick, he is going to space hopefully the next, not too long away. He's going to go on the space station for a few months. And then I also met this guy, Jeremy Hansen, who you're going to hear probably a lot about for the next little while here. So let's just get right into it. All right. start by taking a drink of water. And here is tonight's topics. 15 minutes each for all of them, for both of them. Okay. So I'm just going to do a quick mission overview. If you've never heard of this mission before, what it's all about, you're gonna be the most interesting person at the party if they have questions about Artemis II. And the second part is, how did we get a seat? How did we sneak onto the spacecraft? Us as Canadians. How are we going there? How do we manage this heist? Okay. Let's start with the mission overview. Okay. Who, what, where, when, why, and how, like a good journalist. Okay. We'll start with who. Who is going on this mission? So there's 4 people. 4 people are going to be on this mission. Okay. And the guy on the right there, his shoulder, his arm has something a little different on there. There's 3 Americans that are going and 1 Canadian. 1 Canadian. Okay. So here's the crew. The commander's name is Reed Wiseman. He's been into space before, once or twice. Victor Glover, he's been up into space once, and he's the pilot. So he's actually going to pilot the spacecraft in there. Christina Cook, she went into space at least once, I think, maybe twice. I could be wrong about that. She's a mission specialist. But the person we're probably most excited about, honestly, is this guy, Jeremy Hansen. He's never been into space before. So this is going to be his first time. He's going to have, quite a ride here. So Jeremy's the Canadian astronaut. He is going into space, and that is the crew. Those are the 4 people, 3 Americans, 1 Canadian. What is this? What is Artemis II exactly? And if there's an Artemis II, does that also mean that there is an Artemis I? And if there's an Artemis I and an Artemis II, is there an Artemis III? So Artemis I, yes, there was Artemis I. This was a few years ago, about 3 years ago. And it's same rocket, same vehicle. But on that mission, about 3 years ago, there was no crew on it. It was an uncrewed mission. Okay, no people aboard. It was just to test out the spacecraft with just robots and stuff in there, just to check out all the systems. Artemis II, which is happening this year, imminently, is going to have crew in it. It's a little bit of a different mission profile where they're going and stuff like that. But this is very similar to Artemis I, but they're going to have crew in it, 4 people. And this is essentially, in a nutshell, a crewed test for future missions. So speaking of future missions, Artemis III, it's going to happen sometime in the future, or kind of a little bit of hand wavy of when that's going to happen, 2028, 2030, we'll see. And that mission, they're going to land on the moon. And maybe I'll talk about that a little bit more, a little bit later. So that's what the mission is, a crewed test of the spacecraft. Where are they going? Now, this seems sort of silly to sort of bring up. Well, they're going to the moon, right? Duh, right? The key part of Artemis II is they're not actually landing on the moon. They're not landing on the moon. Here's what it's going to kind of look like here. Okay, so they've left Earth, and they're in this spacecraft, and they're going to reach the moon, and they're going to do a circle, or just rather go around the far side of the moon, the part of the moon that we can't see here on Earth. Okay, and their astronauts are actually going to see parts of the moon lit up on the far side that human eyes have never seen before. They're going to take photos of it. It's going to look really, really, really cool. And the time of the month they're leaving, the far side is going to be quite lit up. So we're going to see parts of the moon that haven't seen before, but critically, we're not actually landing on the moon. We're just going to leave Earth, go around the far side of the moon, and then come back to the Earth. Now, the last time people went around the moon was quite a while ago, 1972. So it's been a long time, first time since 1972 that humans have gone to the moon, but also the first time they've left Earth orbit. We actually haven't left Earth or gone far away from Earth that much, only about 1,000 kilometers or so. We haven't gone far away from Earth. And the interesting thing is, Apollo, all those moon missions in the past were only done by Americans. And so Canada is going to be the second country to go into deep space. And if you sort of replay back history, that might not have gone that way. You might not have been the Soviet Union or a European country. Canada, second place, silver medal, not bad, not bad. So that's where we're going. We're not landing on the moon. We're just going around the moon. When are we going? I'm getting this question a lot. When are we going around the moon? Okay. So I got lucky. I'm actually going to be going down to Florida potentially next week. I got to buy flight tickets, actually. I got invited to go to a NASA social. I'm going to get to get a tour of the NASA facilities and actually see the rocket get rolled out. I won't be there for launch, but I'll get to see the rocket move at like 2 kilometers an hour. So that's something. Okay. So hopefully, and the communications I've got is that it should be in mid-January that they're going to roll out. So that could be in the next 10 days or so. Usually it takes about, they said about 3 weeks after the rollout that they're going to try to attempt the launch. Okay. So here is sort of the tentative launch dates. Okay. So February 6th and February 11th. So each day, February 6th, February 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, maybe there's not a day in there. They're going to attempt to do it. So the earliest they might go is like tomorrow, a month from tomorrow, basically. If they miss February 11th, then they have to wait for the moon to get into the right position. So it'd be about March 8th. I think these are, I'm sort of hand waving these. Those are sort of just estimates there. But this is sort of the timeline that we're looking at for them to go to the moon. So as early as a month from tomorrow. That sums it up. They're going to be in space. The mission is going to last about 10 days. And the time of day of launch is probably going to be an evening launch, which is kind of, you wish it was during the daytime, then school kids could all watch together and stuff like that. But just the way the moon is centered and the way they have to orbit around it, it's probably going to be an evening launch. Okay. So I don't have the times in front of me, but maybe future episodes, I'll tell you what time of the evening it'll actually happen. Okay. Why? Why are we doing this? As I said before, and I'm actually getting some good comments here. I might point these back at the end. If it's in April, it'll be a day launch. Okay, I'm learning stuff too, so that's good. So I can kind of look at the comments as I'm doing this, but it's a one-man show. So why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? As I said before, this is a crewed test mission. They're trying out this Orion vehicle here, that capsule there, and this is in service for future missions to the moon. So Artemis III, we want to try to land on the moon. Artemis IV, same thing. And I'll talk about another thing in a second, in the second topic about that. Why are we doing this? We've already been to the moon. Why? In the 60s and 70s, we conquered it. It's ours. We did it. We went to the moon, but we didn't stay that long on the surface. The longest mission that we did there lasted about 2.5, 3 days. Apollo 17, not that long. We didn't stay long there. After Apollo, we decided that if we wanted to go to places further, like Mars, those missions would take years to do. A Mars mission would take at least 2 years to be able to do. And what we had to do was how to learn how to live long-term in space. And so what that meant is we started building the International Space Station. Okay. You probably heard about this. Okay. This is where we have had humans in orbit around Earth every single day for over 25 years. It just celebrated its 25th anniversary. And people will routinely do 6-month missions, sometimes year-long missions. So we're learning to live long-term in space. And this is in service of doing missions to Mars. Okay. Now, we can't just jump right to Mars. Okay. And so one of the things we want to do is we want to learn to live long-term on the moon. Okay. There's other reasons we also want to do this. Okay. There's research things, again, how to learn to live there. We want to research ice deposits that are on the south pole of the moon and the north pole, I think, a little bit as well. Also try to build an economy around the moon. Now, it might be sort of weird to think about that, but that is one of the things we're trying to do. But also like human adventure. We like to do this sort of stuff. And, if we're going to put a lot of money into things, we might as well sort of do some human adventure with this as well. Lots of reasons. One of them chiefly, learning to live long-term on the moon so we can go out further into the solar system. Now, last thing, how are we doing this? How are we doing this? Okay. So this is the rocket that is going to take it there. It's called SLS, Space Launch System Rocket. And if you've ever seen some old space shuttle footage, you know, it had that big orange tank and the plane looking thing and the boosters on the side. There's some legacy hardware that's being used for these missions. So this is a government contracted rocket. Now you might think, wait, why aren't we using like a SpaceX one? I heard they made this big Starship one. It's not that. They are not using a SpaceX rocket to do this. Bam. I heard Jeff Bezos, I heard he's getting in on it. Isn't Blue Origin doing something as well? And didn't they recently launch something? No, they're not using a SpaceX rocket or a Blue Origin rocket. They're using the SLS rocket, which was built with usual government contractors, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, all that. So this is the rocket that they're going to go up into. And they're going to at the very, very, very tippy top there at the Orion capsule. And that's where they're going to live for the entire duration of the mission, those 10 days. How big is this rocket? How big is it? Now, this is a Canadian-focused live stream, so I'll try to bring it back home here. Here's the rocket. And, you know, it is 98 meters tall, almost 100 meters tall, 322 feet, okay? What is that, okay? It is about as tall, in fact, just a little taller than our Parliament building in Ottawa. Okay, this is a very, very, very tall rocket, and I'm excited to see it next week, hopefully. And I'll report back to make sure it's still tall. So they're going up on this rocket. They're going to launch from Florida. And it's going to take them about 8 minutes to get up into Earth orbit. And what they're going to be left with is not the entire rocket, but they're going to be left with this, the Orion capsule, the service module, and then this other thing at the end called the ICPS. I think I get that acronym right. Okay, they're going to be in this for a little while. And then they're going to boost their orbit. And they're going to go around the Earth for about an hour and a half. And you might think, then we're going to head out straight to the moon. Well, old missions used to do that. Some of the Apollo missions. Artemis II is going to do something a little bit weird. I think I might talk a little bit more in detail in future episodes of this. They're going to do this weird elliptical orbit. They're going to go really quite far away from the Earth, about 60,000 kilometers, and then loop back really close to the Earth, so they can gain speed. And while they're doing this, they're going to do this little test where they're going to separate from that other stage, and they're going to try to maneuver around it. This is where that Victor Glover guy, he's going to try to pilot around the second stage so that they can test all of those systems where they can control things. They're also going to be testing the bathroom. That is a very important thing that they keep on reiterating. They're going to make sure that the life support system is all good. And if it's all good, then they can head up to the moon. If the toilet doesn't work or the life support system doesn't work, this elliptical orbit gives them an ability to abort the mission and come back home. And that might happen. You know, this is a test mission. That could happen. But hopefully everything goes well. And then they head off towards the moon. And this mission, this coast, this flight to the moon will take about 4 days. So they'll just be in there. They'll be working out, breathing, doing experiments, taking photos and all that. And the Earth will get smaller and the moon will look bigger. It's going to be really, really cool. After 4 days, they're going to arrive on the far side of the moon. And eventually they're going to lose contact with the Earth. The moon is just going to be in the way and we can't have our radio waves talking. So we're going to lose contact with them. They're going to take photos. They're going to see parts of the moon we've never seen before. But eventually, after about half an hour or so, they're going to come up from the far side of the moon. They're going to see the Earth. And then they're going to start heading back home. And the flight back home is, again, about another 4 days or so. And once they get back to the Earth, they're going to separate the capsule, which they're in, from that service module. Then they're going to break away from that. And then they're going to re-enter through Earth's atmosphere. And then they launched in Florida, but they are going to West Coast this, and they're going to try to land just off the West Coast of San Diego. That's the ideal position, but they've got a lot of ocean to work with, but hopefully that is where they land. So again, that's about 10 days that the mission is going to last, and hopefully that gives you a good overview of the mission. So that's topic one. I think I did okay for time there. I think I did 15 minutes. All right. Next one. Now I'll try to go quick here. How did Canada get a seat? How did we sneak on to this mission. Now, US and Canada relations are just perfect right now. Everything is completely normal. It's all just very good. We're saying very kind things to each other. It's all just so peaceful. There's no disagreements on anything. It just keeps getting better every single day. So let's just take a moment to just pause. It's all so normal. It's not. It's really screwed up right now, and I'll bite my tongue, and I won't get too much into that. But U.S.-Canada relations are kind of weird. So how, through this point in time, have we gotten a seat on this rocket? When did we decide this? When did we get our seat? Was it this year? When was it? It wasn't this year. It was actually just over 5 years ago that we confirmed that we were going to get a seat on this mission and possibly some future missions. And you can tell that it was in 2020 that they decided this, because this is what the announcement looked like. We were all using Zoom, or maybe this is Teams. I don't quite know. It looks kind of like Zoom. So that's Lisa Campbell, the CSA president, Navdeep Bains, who I think is minister of, I forget right now, and then the 4 astronauts, Jeremy, Joshua, Jenny, and David. I didn't forget any of their names. Sometimes I draw a blank. Thank God I didn't. All right. So all 4 of them, they were there, and they announced that we're going to get possibly 2 missions to go around the moon. And so why did NASA choose Canada? We have the International Space Station. International being key word here. There is a lot of partners that they could have chosen from. See if I get some of my flag history right. France, Germany, Italy, Norway, Great Britain, Switzerland, Japan. They have all these great countries they could have chosen astronauts from. Why did they choose us? Why did they choose us? Also, how much did it cost? How much will it cost Canadians, for us to send Jeremy to the moon? How much? Here is a $5 bill. And here is the back of a $5 bill. So did it cost us $5 to send Jeremy around the moon? Let's look at the back of that Canadian $5 bill again. Let's just sort of zoom in there a little bit. And if you have a $5 Canadian bill, you should pull it out right now. Don't leave me, but look for $5. You got one around you. You wealthy person, you. And you'll see it says Canadarm2 and Dexter on it. Okay, this is important. You've probably heard about Canadarm before. Okay, so Canadarm has been with us for a long time. It actually started in the early 80s, 45 years ago. Yeah, this year. On the space shuttle, we had this robotic arm that was in the payload bay, and we could go and grab equipment, satellites, and move them around and toss them into space. We could grab astronauts and put them in parts of the vehicle that they couldn't access otherwise. We could go up into space and grab other satellites and do repairs on them, which is what we did on Hubble. Okay, Canadarm did a lot of great work. So much great work that we actually used it to build the International Space Station. And we did so good that we wanted to build another arm on the International Space Station to be there all of the time. All the time. So we had Canadarm, and we had to think of a better name for the next Canadarm, and we came up with Canadarm2. Okay, and Canadarm2 has been running on the International Space Station since 2001, I want to say. So it's been up there for 25 years. Okay, and you can see this on the back of a $5 bill. You can see Canadarm and Dexter, which is sort of like a, he's got a bunch of arms. Okay, essentially, what I'm trying to point out here is, and cover the kids' ears, Canada kicks ass at robotic arms. We do it really good, probably better than anybody else. Okay, and this person probably agrees because their life is depending on it. How do we get a seat? And what do we want to do after the International Space Station? The International Space Station has been up for 25 years. Eventually, we got to retire it, bring it back down. So what's the next thing after the International Space Station? Well, we had this idea. It's called Lunar Gateway. And basically, it's like a smaller version of the International Space Station, but instead of around Earth, it's around the moon. And you can kind of see on the left side there, you can see sort of the Orion capsule there, possibly docking with it there. And if you look closely, you might say, wait a minute, what is that? If we zoom in, you can see there's another arm on this proposed space station, the Lunar Gateway. And this is basically how we're getting our ticket towards the moon. This is called, you can see another arm there, has Canada's logo on there. This is creatively called Canadarm3. We're very good at naming things, okay? This is how we got our seat. We said we would commit to building a robotic arm to the Lunar Gateway. And so another part that I can't quite get into because it would take a long time is the whole program is called the Artemis program. This is Artemis II. And we have this thing called the Artemis Accords. It's basically like an agreement to use the peaceful use of space, maybe a little bit of an asterisk on there, depending who you ask. But Canada was one of the first countries to sign up for this agreement. And probably because of that, we also got a seat that way. So we got a seat because we're really good at robotic arms. So much so, there's actually a really good book I should mention. It's called Canadarm and Collaboration, and basically by Elizabeth Howell. And it's a good book talking all about Canada. How much did this cost? How much did it cost? Okay, how much will the arm cost? Is it going to cost $5? A little bit more than that. A little bit more than that. The cost of the arm in total, maybe this is sort of outdated, but it's sort of an estimate, is about $1 billion. $1 billion. Okay. Now there's 41 million Canadians or so. Okay. So if you divide, $1 billion divided by 41 million, that's about $25 per Canadian. Now, this isn't how funding works. We don't go and steal $25 from everybody, but if you need a sort of a rough estimate, about $25 per Canadian to build a robotic arm, Canadarm3, and send Jeremy and a future astronaut, future Canadian, to the moon. So it's not $5, but maybe $5. So that is how Canada got a seat. So hopefully those two topics got you a little bit up to speed on the mission. Now, I think I'm good for time. Yeah, killing it. I'm actually ahead of schedule. Great. All right. Now's the time for Q&A. If you have a question, you can put it into the comments. I'm going to spend about 15 minutes answering these. I'm going to go through the comments that I might have missed there. But just before I do that, let's do a little bit of promo and try to pay the bills here. Speaking of $5, if you have $5, you can support me. I have a few different ways you can do that. You can either just buy me a coffee. There's a website called buymeacoffee.com. I'll put the links to this perhaps in the comments section here. Or because I'm fancy, I can do this with a QR code right there. One-time donation if you're so inclined to do that. If you want to help me out on a monthly basis, that works too. I have a Patreon. Okay. Let's change that QR code there. Okay. This just helps me sort of have annual, well, I guess so, monthly money coming in to help pay for different things and services. This live stream software costs some money and stuff like that. Huge help. And probably the best way is if you know a school around, not too far away from Montreal, a few hours drive from Montreal, you can hire me for a planetarium show. So I got a show in Ottawa tomorrow. I do kids of all ages. If you have something for spring break and you need to do something for the kids on spring break, I can come to your community and do that as well. So I've also got a website for that with all the information, give you a calculator for how much it'll cost and stuff like that. YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe. That's a huge help. And social media, it's all there. It's all there. And the last thing, newsletter. I have a newsletter. So I'm going to be doing more of these. I'll do these each and every week, and I'll announce in my newsletter every week the day before to remind you what it's about. And I said it was the last thing, but this is the real last thing, maybe second to last thing. I've made a page with resources for more info about this mission. So if you're a parent or a teacher, you need like activities to do with your kids or your students, I've made this plateauastro.com/Artemis. And there I put the next video that I'm doing, the next stream I'm doing every week there, and some really cool like coloring sheets and activities you can do with kids and stuff like that. That there. And if you need a video but don't want to, send somebody this live stream, I have made a quick like 9-minute video teaching all about this mission and a lot of stuff I'm going to cover over the next few weeks. Condensed, it's Canadian focused, and it's on my YouTube channel right there. Okay, now finally, let's get into the Q&A. I did get a few questions before the live stream started. One is from Diana Phillips, good friend of mine. And their question was, what circumstances would keep Artemis from launching in February? And sort of a similar question from another person, Marlene Morgan. What is the criteria NASA is looking forwards so the launch is a go versus no go? These are kind of a little bit similar. So this one, what would keep Artemis 1 from launching in February? Yeah, so the vehicle right now is in what we call the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building. Okay, so it's in this giant building, and it's being checked out, and so far it looks like everything is sort of good to go. But something could happen that they might find out before they roll it out to the launch pad. They got to fix it, okay? And if it's a weeks-long thing, that means they're going to miss that February launch, that launch window. What is the criteria NASA is looking for so the launch is a go versus no go? In Artemis 1, it was delayed many, many times, months. I forget, 5 months, 6 months, 4 months, let's say, something like that. A big issue that was why it was said to be a no-go was there was lots of hydrogen leaking. So the big rocket, the big orange rocket, it's got a bunch of hydrogen in it and a bunch of oxygen above it. I think I got those right. And when they combine those, it starts to go up. It's got some solid rocket boosters beside it to help it sort of get up as well. Okay. Hydrogen is really hard to contain. You've got big hoses going into there, I think, and they try to push the hydrogen in there and then unseal it so that you're ready for launch. But if there's a tiny, tiny, tiny leak, hydrogen will find a way to get outside of it. So hopefully Artemis 2 has sort of figured out those sort of ground systems so that we don't have those issues. But we'll see in the next few weeks. Hopefully it does go off February 6th. That would be great. But we'll see. Let me just look through the comments here. So we've got some great people. We got from Montreal, great. Newfoundland, okay. Vancouver, St. Thomas, Ontario, Abbotsford, BC, Rocky View County, great. Okay, Alberta, right? Stratford, great. All right, I'm going to go from the bottom just so I can really find. Will you stream the rollout live from Florida? I'm going to be doing. I might do a live stream. I might do one. Let me just put myself there. I don't quite know how NASA socials completely work. I know you get a tour of the facilities, and I think of the vehicle assembly building, but I'm not sure how much time they're like. Okay, you have 2 minutes to look around, and then we got to go to the next thing. I really don't know how it all goes down. So if they give me a few minutes, say 30 minutes, I want to capture some stuff that I want to use for my recorded videos. I have some ideas I want to get through and make sure I recorded sort of this historic moment. But yeah, I would love to do like a quick 5 or 10 minute live streams to show you kind of what's happening. But I'll see how that goes. How long will the first Artemis missions last? 10 days. How long will this first Artemis mission last? Okay, I think a little phrasing strange this time. So the first Artemis mission, Artemis 1, actually lasted for about 3 weeks, if I remember right. 2.5, 3 weeks. It was quite a ways. The way it went around the moon was this really sort of intricate kind of dance of orbital mechanics. I even have a hard time sort of imagining it again in my mind, but the mission lasted about 3 weeks. And I guess they're probably stress testing some of the systems in there, batteries, making sure the solar panels on it generate enough power throughout the mission. So that one lasted about 3 weeks, about 21 days. This is going to last about 10 days. 10 days. That's if it's a complete success. So That's good. Will there be a live stream of the launch? Oh, there'll be many, many, many live streams. Yeah. So NASA will probably be doing one, but there's also some really great YouTube creators that will probably be doing some really great commentary ones as well. So, yeah. Let's see here. Some really great stuff here. This American is super excited. The Canadian, Jeremy Hansen. Good, good, good. I'm going to circle back. So I said before that the launch time, the time of day that it's going to launch, is going to be in the evening. And I believe that's true for February. I think it opens at, say, 9:30 or 9:40 p.m., something like that. There is a calendar out there somewhere with this information. Maybe I'll school myself up on all that. But David Willis, SLS, he has SLS in his username, and I actually now this is a time warp. I'm remembering this username actually. He has SLS, Space Launch System Rocket. So this person sounds tuned in. If it's in April, it will be a day launch. Okay, that would be. I mean, I would like it to be in February. Just I want it to go off as soon as I can. But I guess if it does get delayed to April, be a day launch. That'll be very cool. My facility in Edmonton. Okay, this is good. The Telus World of Science will be doing a watch party for the Artemis II launch and landing. We hope to have our webpage up for what we are doing for. Stay tuned to our website. We also have a digital inflatable planetarium that we take to schools as well. Yes, I remember the Telus World of Science. It was called the I'm forgetting the name. I used to go there as a kid. And it was great. I still have great memories of going to the IMAX theater there and watching Fires of Kuwait from 1992, I believe. Whole other topic. Why are you so far away from Edmonton? A portable planetarium? Well, Trish, you should get in contact with Frank. Frank, get in touch with Trish. You can set up with a mobile planetarium show. Let me see. Artemis 1 scrub twice. I was there until it flew. Right. Forgot about that. Yeah. All right. Frank, talking about that. Artemis 1, we're getting some real-time feedback here. Artemis 1 was about 25 days, 11 hours. That's pretty precise. 25 days. So over 3 weeks that it lasted. It's yeah, it was a while. So keep on asking some questions in there. If I did have some sort of planned out, if people didn't, and you could tell that maybe I made these. Okay, why aren't they orbiting the moon like Apollo 8? So Apollo 8 was in 1968, and actually they went around the moon Christmas Eve. Okay, happy coincidence there. Okay. So if this mission, with some journalists and stuff like that have said that this mission is kind of similar to the Apollo 8. It's, they're not landing on the moon. Apollo 8 also didn't land on the moon. But Apollo 8 did about 10 orbits around the moon and then returned to Earth. Why aren't they doing that? I just assumed that's what Artemis II was going to be like before I learned about the orbital, how it's going to be, that the mission is going to be done. It's a good sentence there. The answer, I believe, and maybe David Willis SLS can help me out here. The service module, the part that this is why I have these things here. Okay, this is part of the resources page I have here. This coloring sheets. So this is the capsule they're going to be in, and this back part is called the service module. So you can see the solar panels here. This is how they get energy from it. This is different from Apollo. Apollo used fuel cells, and they're using solar arrays here. Touching this very sensuously. All right. So this part here has an engine on the back. Now, this is 2D, so I can't show you it, but there's an engine back here. Now, apparently, the Orion service module does not have enough thrust power to be able to get into orbit around the moon in the same way that the Apollo service module did. And for that reason, they can't do it. There's some parts of the SLS system which are a little bit, not perfect in my opinion, and this is one of the limitations of it. So we just kind of can't do it with this service module. I think that is the answer for that one. How old are the astronauts? Okay, this one, and I'll just before I answer this, how big is the service module? Yeah, how big is the service module? The service module is a bit smaller, at least height-wise, I believe, compared to the Apollo service modules. A bit more stout, I believe, is the word I'm looking for here. So, yeah. Size-wise, I'm forgetting. Is it 4 meters diameter? I believe something like that. Yeah. And then extend out with the solar arrays. I would have to check that, but that could be easily checkable. So, okay. I'll just answer one more, and then I think I will have accomplished my doing this all in 45 minutes. Okay. How old are the astronauts? Okay. The last time we went to the moon was December 1972. Okay. So 53 years ago in a couple of weeks. Every astronaut that's going to be on the mission, Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook, Jeremy Hansen, are all born after 1972. None of the astronauts who are going on this mission ever saw Neil Armstrong walk on the moon or the last footsteps on the moon. This is a completely different generation of astronauts. So hopefully that sort of gives like a little bit of a time span, how much time has passed since we've gone back to the moon. Off the top of my head, I believe there is 4, perhaps 5 living Apollo astronauts left. So it's getting pretty tight. That number I just pulled out of my head, so could be wrong about that. But the Apollo astronauts are time does go on, but a new generation has come here. And so I'll put my questions away, and then I'll just finish with this. Diana asks, can you tell me the location of the splashdown when Artemis II returns? Yeah, it's just off the coast of San Diego. So I don't know how far off the coast what that means, but they've got enough of the Pacific Ocean and they can splash into there. And real-time follow-up. Okay, Artemis II is using legacy equipment like the J-25 engines from STS, the space shuttle, but they're being dropped into the ocean and won't be reused like the space shuttle. Do you believe there will be an Artemis II? Oh, okay. This is not real-time follow-up, but one last question. Okay. Yeah, the Artemis II rocket, which I also have a convenient part here. At the bottom of it, of the big orange part, are actually 4 engines from the space shuttle era. So these rockets have been these engines at the bottom of this have been into space before on the space shuttle. I'm not sure if it's all 4 of them, but at least one. It could be all 4. I don't know, top of my head. This part is going to splash right into the ocean. Okay. And that is how those engines will meet their demise. Okay. And then the question, do I believe there will be an Artemis IV? We'll see. Things are kind of in flux right now, but I'm pretty certain, and I think there was a budget thing put in today that passed that does up some of NASA's budget compared to some of the cuts we were kind of expecting. So, all right. I'll close it off here. Let me just put my slides up there. Okay. So next week, same time, well, not the same place, same time. Monday, 8 p.m. ET. I will be here. So next week's topic's a little bit different. Again, I'm going to do this on YouTube. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, you should do that right now. If you're watching from the Facebook event, I am going to put the Facebook event shortly after I finish this. I didn't want to make it just before because I'm a bit confusion. Anyways, I'll put it there. I'll also put the link to the new event in the the current event. So you should go and you should mark yourself as going or at least interested. That helps my morale. So same place, YouTube and Facebook, and I'll check if Instagram actually worked or not. We'll see. I did try to stream there. Next week's topics. Okay. Launch window explained. Okay. Why can they only leave during those certain days? Why is that? Okay. And then I'll figure it out. I actually don't know what the next topic is going to be, but I'll think over the next week or so. That's Monday night. I will hopefully receive word from NASA when the social event is going to be. So hopefully that doesn't disrupt it. But if I can't make it for Monday, maybe I'll move it to Sunday. But I think we should be okay. All right. Some future topics, just to sort of like tease you a little bit. Okay. Landing sites. How this is going to be different from Apollo versus Artemis. Okay, we're landing in a very different part of the moon versus the Apollo missions. Why we haven't been back in 50 years? Why? The weird elliptical orbit that they're doing for Artemis II. Why are they doing that? What's the deal? And time delay. When you go to the moon, you're actually getting pretty far away from Earth. And I'll talk about the delay of light. The speed of light gets delayed. Well, that's a weird phrase, but there's a time delay. The Orion capsule itself. Somebody asked how big the service module is. I think that might actually be a good topic to talk about. And communications blackout. We'll talk a little bit about that. I got lots of ideas, so don't worry. If this mission gets delayed, I'll have plenty of fresh ideas. Thanks so much. Again, my name's Plateau Astro. I didn't mean to merch this whole thing up here, but I intended to put on another shirt, but it's chilly in here, so I had to put on my sweater, and there it is. Merci beaucoup. Thank you for watching, and this will be up, and you can replay it if you've missed this. You can show it to friends, but also on my YouTube channel, I have the 10-minute video talking all about the basics of the mission from a Canadian perspective. So, thank you all for coming. See you next week.